A 0% COLA for Social Security beneficiaries in 2024. The logic behind this and why we're seeing it in the headlines. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, now in this video, I do want to discuss the details of a topic I've seen showing up in the headlines a lot lately in regards to a 0% COLA for millions of Social Security beneficiaries in 2024. What is the real logic behind this and why are we seeing this show up so much lately? Let's get into it and talk about what's going on. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing the research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay posted on what's actually happening right now, as it's a very busy time and it's also a very uncertain time, as we all have a lot of questions as far as what's actually going on right now and how may it impact all of us going forward. Well, that's what I'm here for you, as that is my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that is my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any videos going forward, and let's get into it and talk about what these headlines are now suggesting and why would this even be a logical approach to say a 0% COLA, considering this year we're all enjoying an 8.7% COLA, which we all know is simply not enough. But anyway, we can talk about that again in a separate video. Let's talk through the details of this 0% and why is this actually logical to say. All right, so here's what it comes down to. I've seen this showing up in the headlines so many times over the last couple of weeks, and I want to break it down for you because would it really be realistic to say, well, this year, 2023, we got an 8.7% COLA, and next year it's going to be 0? Well, let me tell you the details behind this, which, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there. As of right now, it is way, way, way too soon to predict what the COLA is going to be for 2024. I'm going to be real with you. I'm filming this video in February 2023. It is way too soon to say anything about this, but I do want to talk about it considering how much I've been seeing this in the headlines in regards to this 0%, which, by the way, I disagree. I do not think it's going to be 0%, okay? I'll hit on that here more in just a second. I don't want to instill my opinions right here quite yet, but I will throw them in a little bit later. All right, so here's what it comes down to, and here is why so many people are suggesting 0% is coming. They're saying that this inflation is coming down so fast that by the time that we get to the critical months where they determine the COLA for 2024, it's going to be so low that we're going to get 0 for a COLA. Here's the thing. Remember, the COLA is calculated based on the inflation data, as in the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, in the third quarter of this year. For next year, July, August, and September will be the 3 months that determine what the COLA will be for next year. Okay, now as of right now, inflation, as of literally this recording, February, is sitting around 6%. 6 to 6.5% is where inflation is currently sitting. Inflation would need to come down significantly just in the next couple months here to bring it down to 0%. So more on that here in just a second. But realistically, this is not that logical to say that we're going to get a 0% COLA. Now again, are the numbers real? You know what I mean? So here's the thing. I don't want to throw in some conspiracy theory and say, oh no, the numbers are rigged and all kinds of stuff like this. But let's just be real for a second. Are the inflation numbers even real? Again, anybody can insert their opinions here, but I think we can all agree the real price increases that we're currently dealing with are probably a little bit higher than what is actually being reported to us every single month. Let's just be real for a second, right? I think we can all probably agree with that statement, okay? Now, when it comes down to it, let's discuss the details behind this a little bit further now. All right, so what it really comes down to is people are also suggesting that we're going to be in a deflationary time by the time we get to the end of 2023. What this simply means is that we're currently in an inflationary time. In other words, prices are still rising, even though the reports that come out are suggesting, oh no, prices are rising less fast than they were a year ago at a pace of, a little over 6% as of right now. Okay, maybe prices are rising a little bit less fast, but they're still rising. In other words, we're still in an inflationary time. Well, they're actually suggesting by the end of this year, we're going to be in a deflationary time. In other words, prices will be dropping. I don't know about that. I'm going to go ahead and say we'll believe it when we see it, because I'm not buying that one. I'm not buying it as of right now anyway. I do not think that's going to be happening, at least this year. Maybe next year, possibly. But here's the thing as well. we need to remember this much. In order for the COLA to really be 0%, the inflation in this country would need to be very, very, very low in those 3 months, July, August, and September, when they calculate the COLA for the following year. It's just not going to happen. Within the next couple months here, there's no way that inflation is going to go down so much that it's going to generate a 0% COLA. That's my honest opinion about it, okay? All right, but anyway, now let's quickly talk about, again, I'm just going to throw my opinion in here about what's actually going on. By the time that we get to those 3 months, July, August, and September, when they start running the COLA as far as what it's going to be for next year, considering where we currently are right now, again, February, inflation is still sitting a little bit over 6%. Depending on what happens here, depending on what happens over the next, what is that? 5, 6, 7 months, if my math is correct, whatever happens over the next 5, 6, 7 months is really going to determine what actually happens here. Because remember, we've been talking about this for a while now. We're still very early on in this year, but according to the reports, according to the suggestions, according to the forecasts by many big people out there, very highly influential people, they're suggesting this year is going to bring in a major economic contraction and recession. If that happens, what happens? Well, Congress usually passes huge packages, hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. The Federal Reserve prints money. What happens then? It causes more inflation, okay? Is this going to happen within the next 5, 6, 7 months? It could. It could, something like that. We're not really sure. Only time will tell on this. But if this actually does happen, it's not going to bring inflation down anytime soon. It's actually going to probably stabilize inflation, probably right where it is, and then probably even start going back up a little bit because of all the new money printing, just like they do every time. So when it really comes down to it, I'm going to go out right now and say I do not buy the idea of a 0% COLA. Now, do I think it's going to be 8.7%? Not a chance. Do I think it's going to be 3%? Probably. It's probably going to be more around maybe the 2 to 3% range based on what I'm currently seeing right now and based on the information that I'm seeing. Now, again, 2 to 3% is sad. I mean, that's pathetic, right? Let's just be real. It's not much. It's not much at all. But based on what I'm currently seeing right now, I would anticipate the COLA for next year, 2024, to be somewhere around that 2 to 3%. And it's not much. I get it. It's nowhere near the 8.7%. But based on forecasting, based on looking at inflation right here, right now, and what it's likely going to be in the next 5, 6, 7 months, something like that, it's probably going to drop down to maybe around that range. Or maybe it falls into the upper 4% range or something like that. But again, we'll see. We don't really know what it's going to be at this time. But we do know that the COLA next year is not going to be anywhere near the 8.7% like what we got this year. Even the 5.9% that we got last year, I don't even think that's going to be a case. That's going to be a little bit of a stretch. But like I said earlier, this is February. It's still February as of right now. So maybe you're watching this video in March or April or July or October. I don't know. Whenever you're watching this video, or maybe you're watching it the day that I posted. But my point is, we're still so early in the year right now. It is way too soon to be forecasting anything talking about the COLA for next year. We just turned into 2023. Why are we talking about 2024 already? You know what I mean? Let's just enjoy this year for a little bit here, and then we can talk about 2024 in I don't know, maybe 9 months, something like this. When we get out, way closer to the end of the year, when we start planning for next year and things like this, that's when we can really talk about it. Or at least when we start to get some of the inflation data for July, August, and September, then we can start throwing out some forecasts as far as what the COLA will realistically be. At this time, it's anybody's guess. I mean, literally, throw a dart at a dartboard with a bunch of numbers on it, and that's going to be about as accurate as we can get at this point. That's really what it's coming down to. Anyway, but it's all coming down to this idea that inflation is falling rapidly. Again, is it really? Well, that's anybody's guess. But again, it's all down to this idea of inflation falling rapidly and getting into a deflationary time later this year. Again, I don't think so. There's just no way. Maybe next year we're in a deflationary time, but this year right now, we're way too high with inflation, and the pace that it's coming down is not fast enough to be deflationary, by the end of this year. Maybe. I don't think so. But either way, what do I know, right? Just some random dude. You never know. So I'll keep watching all this stuff closely. But either way, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. I want to come back and talk about this really quickly because I've seen it in the headlines so many times here over the last few weeks. And I thought, you know what? You got to talk about this because it is showing up all over the place. This 0% figure, Not buying it. I'm thinking more like 2 to 3%, maybe. So either way, I'll keep you posted. Again, I'm watching everything closely. As I do get more details, of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.